Hello, ladies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Zuko has Toro for I forget how to pronounce their names, Pharaoh and Toro. So part one. Don't forget part one. So this is the light up version. So the Zuko was and I'm giving all of like his or their abilities to Zuko, and I'm also gonna throw in some infinity, like basically making him the shield. And Zumi he will be. I'm turning my volume all the way up. Sorry. So Zumi he and is like I didn't have a drawing quickly enough. So picture that female that's on top as Zumi. Where is she? Picture Zumi. Picture her as that girl. Oh, the one that. So, and Zuko would be that big hulking creature thing. So, in this what if, Zuko who didn't get respected, or like when they reach age of 4, Zuko has went to the quirk doctor with like Zumi and Inko, and so they like yes, okay, so Zumi has fire manipulation and like different quirks. But you, Zuko, you don't have a quirk, but it's a weird one. So Inko is now like is like the. So she says, okay, as she brings Zuko, or no, when they brought Zuko and Zumi from the doctors to their house, they respect Zumi, but not Zuko. So basically, they pay more attention to Zumi than Zuko. They don't use Zuko. So he says, huh. So that means that he can do anything that he wants. But he. So then when, like, they really notice something's different about Zuko. Or Zumi notices something about Zuko. About how he got more, like, bulkier. Like, kind of like what this is. But on a way grander scale. Like, he he trained his hardest by himself to out of his sure rage for others. So he only person that really knew, or actually Zuko, or actually everybody, didn't know until one of them says, okay. As they look at the sky, it will only happen 1,000 years. As everybody sees it, as he's getting madder and madder, and stronger, basically, he became the one who destroys all. That kind. I mean, with Zuko's hulkiness thing, everybody is like, this is the end of the world. As Zumi runs back into the house, and she runs up to Zuko and tells him to calm down, please. As he calms down a lot. As she tells him that let me brother kind that is so he calms down a lot, like he calms down, but he is like that kind of buffed up. So the both, like, what it only was last for a couple minutes, because usually it takes in like full hours and all that stuff. So when Zuko as it went back to normal, as at the UA, Nezu saw that, and he says, what is this phenomena? And there's, as, like, her and him were like, she says, well, I think someone caused it of their quirk. You want me to scout it out who did it? As Nezu says, yes. If someone with that much power that to cause the solar eclipse, he must be very strong to do it. So I'm relying on you. I will. But at the Zuko Midoriya family, Inko, who walks, or she sees Zumi with her brother, like peacefully calming, as of course, she knew that, or because Zumi told her that it's my big brother's power. It's not a quirk, but it's a power too. As Zumi or Inko is like, okay, so as her husband was there too. So they're like, okay, hey Zumi, what do you mean he has this much power? As Zumi explains that when after coming out of room thing, I noticed that, and after the power surges through him, it was a quirk, but then, I'm not making any of this up, but or when it was before her, it were his quirk to develop, but it decides to go and fuse into his molecules, into his like full genetics. So Zumi or Inko is surprised that. So basically, you're telling us that your brother has or is a quirk, right? Correct. He has this much power. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling, so so that's why Zumi says, yeah. So that's why, because she has her. So Zumi, or no, Inko, after she heard that her own son is a quirk creature that has no limitations. Where is it? I went too far. Sorry. It was supposed to be. So, sorry. So it was. It was with that same look on her face as she says, this might be troublesome. Oh, sorry, I was wiping my crumbs off my phone. So, Zuko is a perfect shield, kinda. So, as when they went out, as someone got into their getaway vehicle, and it was a few blocks from it. So her brother is already bulked up, as he was strong. So basically, and his power was sunshine and moonshine, both inside of him. That's why. And he also controls the day and night. So, yeah. So Zuko, who has so many powers, so he basically went right in front of the getaway vehicle as he activated his shield, and the car did like a 180 right over his head, like 360 in about 5 minutes. Basically, he's tall as, or no, he's like a train, truck, everything. And Mr. Aizawa looks and sees how powerful he is as he looks up and sees its solar eclipse again. Alright. So he says, I think I must report this to Nezu before. As he calls Nezu and tells him that I think I know who's causing these things. Okay, let's hear it. Okay, I just watched a kid smashed into a getaway vehicle of villains and sending them flying into, or making them go 360. And he is now upset and now his sister's coming. I see. What is that boy's name? Unknown, but I'll ask. As he literally jumped down, as he walks up to Zuko, and he says, or actually, Nezu says, all right, bring him in. And so Nezu is finding this interesting, where a kid controlling that much power. And as Nezu or Racerhead says, okay, as he asked Hin, what's your name, first of all? My name is Zuko Midoriya. And I already know who you are, Mr. Aizawa. As everybody heard that name, Bakugo is like, wait, is that a pro hero? As Racerhead says, come with me to UA. As he is like, okay. As he tells his sister that I'll be back, okay? Promise? Yes, sister. Sir, you know I always keep my promise. As he went with Razorhead, and then they showed up at Nezu's, and Nezu says, Zuko Midori. So you're the one that causes these solar eclipses, aren't you special? As Zuko says, yeah. And I'm not a quirk, or I am a quirkless one, but all my skills or my attributes make up for that. As Nezu says, huh, with all that power, you wanted, or you control it, right? Yes. And before we do, I am Zuko Midoriya, and you are Nezu, right? Correct. And how did you know? As Zuko says, well, you are pretty popular around hands at my school. Okay? So, of course. And so he decides, or before, he says, how about we accept him when he is 15? I think he sent him UA. So, yeah. So he says, how, or in the, he says, well, how about you join UA? Don't worry about the test thing. We already know your strengths and your abilities. As he says, sure. Okay? As he says, I hope my sisters are right with. Oh, your siblings are just fine. Because, and after they had their conversation and they made a deal, or no, they, or he accepts that from, as he says, you'll be in class 1A. Okay. As Zuko is, or he says, when you can order her now, Zuko, then you just walk right in and take your, seat thing in the control room, okay? Or let's just to make sure. So the next day, or after they had their conversation, they went home, and Zumi, he literally ran up to her brother and says, did they hurt you? No. Oh, sister. I actually got accepted into UA. As Inko heard that her own son is going to UA when he's older enough. As in her head, she thinks, okay, because Zumi told her about the pro hero came out of nowhere and asked Zuko to, as she says, Okay. And Hisashi is like, ooh, can't believe I just, sorry, that. I'll just use his picture just in this. So, that's what Hisashi says. And then we should celebrate that got into UA before. Or he got accepted. As the next day he went to his usual class thing. As Bakugo heard that Zuko is going to UA, or got accepted to UA. As Bakugo is like, saying, wow, did you really? This is the calm Bakugo, not the gonna kill you all kind of Bakugo. So Zuko says, yep, I can't believe it. My powers are... As he says, yeah, I think how powerful you are pretty good at it. So, as Bakugo, like when he was 3 years old, or no, before, he actually told, or actually Zuko told him after, what is your quirk? Quirkless, huh? That's no surprise. I don't expect anything less from you. As that was before. And then when they said that, and as he says, huh, okay, what the heck was that about you got accepted to UA and you made solar eclipse not once, but twice in a couple days. Yeah. As Zuko was... Yeah. So, now they went 15 and Zuko, and Zumi went to UA. And Tenya saw who, got accepted to UA. As he did that little arm chop thing. As he says, as Nezu told him that he will only just do the quirk assessment test. And don't worry about your points things. Just have fun, okay? Okay. As he, or Mina, or everybody that in Japan knew Zuko was literally accepted to UA as a class 1A student. As they're like, ooh, I can't wait. As he did that written part under 1 second. That's how fast he goes. Yeah. Faster than Momo and everybody. So he's like, okay. And they didn't need to look at his file thing. So then He had to be so powerful, or actually he was his he had offense and defense. Or his sister was offense, sword, and her brother is defense. Basically like what you see on your screen right now. And Zuko was pretty powerful. Like, they were amazing. So he he did that as he causes a solar eclipse thing on the 0 pointer, and he got Ochako out. He got smashed right into, or actually, oh my goodness, Zumi got Ochako out, but Zuko, who says, "You're not touching my sister or my friend," as he rips the 0 pointer's arm right off, as he dug right underneath it, as he lifts the 0 pointer off and threw him across the entire fake city, and threw the entire arm right at the 0 pointer's chest, exploding it, as half of his body was burnt off. Like, as Zuko did that angry thing, as solar eclipse him, as he instantly regenerated back his full half of his body. Like, some students are like, whoa. Even heck, Nezu saw what Zuko did. As all of them, okay. So, Zuko was a walking, talking tank. Like, basically a military tank, but way more armor, way more protection, and with regeneration. So, yeah, and he's also he also has fire immunity and fire regen. Basically, if he takes damage from Endeavor's flames, instead of killing him or burning him, it actually heals him faster than anyone. Plus, so basically he's immortal under solar eclipse, as he says, But he also relies on his other skills, like copying and all that stuff. So, yeah, and his copying ability, it modifies the person's quirk or powers by 10% stronger than it is. Like, he basically made, and he has the memory thing, so he can copy anyone by just even a thought. So he used it on Monoma, or whatever his name. And Eraserhead says, "Good to have you in Class 1A, Zuko Midoriya." As everybody he saw who Zuko was, the one that got accepted to the UA before everybody, and he also got the highest score, like on it. So he got past All Might kind. Got 1 trillion for Zuko. That passes everybody. So he is like, "Yeah, good to see you again. Are you a homeroom teacher?" "Yes." "Okay." As he comes in and sat down, as his sister sitting right next to him. And so that, because Razorhead and everybody knows that his sister is the only one that calms him down if he has a flare up or something. Okay? So I'm skipping the throw a ball thing. Sorry about that. My dog decided to bark. So the Zuko was basically pretty powerful, but I'm skipping the ball throw and quirk assessment test because Zuko aced it. Bakugo couldn't believe that Zuko they're still best friends. So, because when they saw Mr. Aizawa accepted him, or like a UA, accepted him as that much powerful, yeah. So, he didn't get mad, or he didn't, like, do nothing to Zuko, but he went up and asked Zuko if, how powerful is he? As, yeah, everybody in Class A, as was so surprised at how powerful, and in the locker rooms, Zuko was as, or like they were doing their own like parts, like they were like, how, or like they're like, pretty, you did pretty good, so did you, but hey, and I was in the boys' room as everybody was talking about Zuko. Like, girls says, "Man, he really, I mean, showed us up." Um, um, they, that's how powerful Zuko is. So, yeah. So Zuko, or they were like, and one of them walks over. It was Denki, the human Pikachu. Says, or, if you don't know before, sorry. Denki, or him, I always call him Denki, Denki, and he says, like, you did pretty good, Zuko. This isn't your first time doing that. As he says, well, to me it is. As Redhead says, "Oh, me silly, that was manly. Sheesh. Got accepted to UA and you caused a solar eclipse. And have like resistance to everything. It's like, sheesh, you're in the making." As that was for boys, but for the girls, they're like, yeah, the Zuko is pretty powerful for being a nobody at first. And so did Class B, because they all know who Zuko was. Because they heard that Zuko has this, like, solar thing. As everybody knew who powerful. So, and that the USJ, I'm skipping the heroes versus villains too. As Zuko, who with his sister is calm as cucumbers. As he asked Razorhead, or actually Razorhead asked Zuko that he don't worry about the. So, as we're already here. So they got off the bus and they went in. They got greeted by 13. And 13 sees that Zuko, or as they literally have him on file of being a. And plus, Zumi is the main facility, kind of. And so, then when they walked in, Zuko is like, huh. As he pays more attention to 13, then he notices it. So, Zuko got, or he sees every villain that are real ones. As he says, as Zumi can tell that Zuko is having the heyday solar eclipse. As when everybody knows that when there's a solar eclipse, Zuko is ticked off. As All Might saw that, and he's like, all the pro heroes are like, Midnight says, oh crud. And as he went full on throttle, like basically he was like, that's what he did. He looked at the Nomu with such, or those villains. Some of them even peed their pants how scary the one student is. as he walks down the steps, as Mr. Aizawa is trying to erase his quirk, and he plus with his speed, he took out all the villains with just and he says, huh. And the leader peed his pants, so because that Shiraki-sen got so scared. Just look. So he says, as Zuko was not fooling around. As they said, as he literally, the Nomu came out of nowhere and tried to attack Zuko, but ends up getting disintegrated, brain and all. As he says, as he's literally walking to and he moved Shiraki-sen, Kirigiri out of the way, knocking him out. And then he also, as his sisters literally walked up, or runs up to him, gave him a hug, as he cools down. As he's breathing really hard, sorry about that, sister. Because they know how powerful he is. As Shiraki-sen was passed out too. As they're and Mr. Aizawa's thank goodness I didn't interfere, but that was terrifying. As some of them are when they saw their how powerful he really gets when so as All Might shows up and Pro Heroes and all that stuff, but he's as he's breathing really hard, as he's okay, as he was the first one out of before, after he needed to calm down, then that happened before. As Mina, she tells them that, and well, we don't want to go through that again. Sheesh. As Eraserhead, or everybody agrees, even Ectoplasm's clones agreed that if Zuko gets that flare-up, as Nezu knows why that Zuko did that, is because once he knew the word kill, As Nezu told, or actually the actor one, Zuko, who, of course, Nezu says, "You're not in trouble. It's not. I know that it was your nerve activation thing. Like, basically, you didn't mean to, like, activate it on purpose." As he says, "Yeah, but, it wasn't my fault that," right? As, yeah, yeah, but you didn't disobey, but it's just, any rules or break any rules. So, because Zuko, or actually, Mr. Zhao says, "Yeah, plus it was your rage, or, like, it's not your fault, Zuko. It's actually because your rage was of that word that Shiraki-sen guy said. Of, if I say it." As Zuko says, "No need, I deactivated it before." Hey, kills, or we're here to kill All Might, and you following his footsteps thing. Yeah, that kinda, I know that, is that breaking any rules? No, but good job on sending the signal to us, by the way. It was, or because Midnight says, yeah, with your solar eclipse power, we knew that something was going on at USJ. As Mr. Aizawa was shocked because of that. As but be careful, okay? I will. As he says, I will, but I'm not joking about the being that, okay? So do I, okay. As they're like, the teacher, or no, the principal, the teacher, and the pro hero, and student, they all agreed that Zuko is like but his costume thing, or when they were walking back, or actually, Mr. Zawa was talking to him, and Midnight was taking Zuko back to his class. As Midnight asked Zuko, "How about some redesign in your outfit, like your superhero one?" Okay. Do you have any ideas for? Well, yours, as Midnight says, yours is kinda like, not, you don't need skin protection, but you need more of like and jumpsuit thing. As Zuko was made a special outfit that, or actually during his free time thing, he customized his own super suit. And it like this super suit doesn't need. It was like that, but without the blades and wrist arm things. Think about it as that, but way more movable. As she tells Zuko that be careful. Oh, or actually, they after they arrived, then like as Mino and the rest of them saw Zuko's, as he couldn't believe that they thought he was gonna get like banned from school. But he as he tells them that no, but I did two things actually. As ever them like says, okay, what was two things? Well, my solar eclipse one was the like told the pro heroes, but then as he or his sister says, I hope that they didn't hurt you. No, they didn't, sister. And he also told them that Zuko, or I actually didn't make any like kills or anything except for that creature. Not human, or that wasn't a human. It was Dr. Frankenstein's monster kind. Okay, what do you mean? As he explains, it has multiple quirks inside of a dead corpses. But for kind of like how Frankenstein, they all know how Frankenstein's movie was. And their genetics fused together into it. As it, I never seen the warp guy hate user. He's also a Nomu. Ooh. Or some of them are like, ooh, that's cool. So you know more about these Nomus. Yeah, but there's one flaw in one Nomus. Sorry. There's one flaw in the Nomus that I did exploit. That was their brain pain shows too much. Sorry about that. I had some on my notes. So Zuko was he says their brain is too much. If you strike at their brain, they immediately die from it. Compared to Frankenstein's monster, that's destructible. Kind of like me, but more as they're like, ooh, okay. As when Nezu, or not Nezu, when Eraserhead was coming back, before he even entered into a classroom, he heard that about the Nomu having is like a Frankenstein's monster. Stir. It's and it contains. It's like instead of extra body parts, it think about it as quirks, fusing them with other quirks users. As they're like, I see. As one major flaw, or he heard that one major flaw was the brain, or their brains shows too much. As Eraserhead says, okay. As Zuko was pretty good explaining stuff. So then after school, Eraserhead says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" Sure. After these like Class B students and leave, as Eraserhead says, "Go back to class thing." As they all left, and so you know so much about these Nomus, Zuko. As he says, yes, the think about them as Frankenstein's monsters. They are walking, talking corpses. If you put obedience chip in them, they immediately like obey your every command. So, of course, tell me more, because I want to know about these Nomus that are, as he explains that Zuko, or that or actually they went down to the lab thing where, as he says, well, the Zuko knows, or he's the Nomu expert. So, hey, well, based off of a creature that if as he used a special technique, as he like remade the full body, but as he says, the Nomu's brain is up here, based off of a size and weight. There's like couple Nomus. You always aim for their brain. It's their weak point. If you strike it with like something sharp, or punch it till it's bloody corpses. Yeah. So Zuko was the expert. As the doctor says, well, anything else? Yes, there's lots. Based off of this Nomu, who it has regeneration and absorption. It's both common quirks that are put in a person's birth. And he goes on and on about how these only person that with this much skill to create these nomus would have to be a scientist. That reminds me. As he pulls out a phone, as he says, I think I have an idea of who. Because as he pulls up this, as he shows it to Mr. Aizawa, it's him. And sorry about that. As Zuko was, or okay, how about the other one, the Kirigiri? As he says, well, I do know. As he tells them that Kirigiri is another Nomu. We all know that. But something that shocks me about him. As Eraserhead is like, okay, what would that be? As Zuko says, he has, compared to the one, that big buff creature thing, Warp Guy has, it's a fresh body that's in. As he, I see. As, of course, Nezu was there, as he, oh, I see. As he turns to Mr. Aizawa and says, do you know anyone that by a code name Cloud Boy? As he says, Cloud Boy, that used to be one of my friends' hero names. Well, he is inside that Shiraki's or Kirigiri's body. Like that picture that I showed you, that he puts quirks inside of him. It's called Nomu. Who basically it creates or literally pull or creates quirks and like pulls them out of there. It does all that stuff. As Nezu says, so Kirigiri is really Cloud Boy the entire time. As Mr. Aizawa says, okay. So then all that stuff, then yeah. So I'm skipping the sports festival and internship because sports festival during the fight one, Zuko won the fight and speed and cavalry battle. And then the camp arc, I was thinking about skipping it, but then I was like, no. Because Zuko was also, he is the one of the few people that actually could open the gate to the multiverse. So he, like, as he trained hard overnight, as he like fused himself and like he becomes so like powerful, as he came back with even a stronger suit, like basically made him a little bit more taller. So, and he has knowledge of everything and everyone. So, yeah. So now he copies the everyone's quirk without having to touch them or say their name. So now the All for One against All Might. All Might lost, but before Zuko or before All for One steps on his face, Zuko came in and like, take that, you jerk. Or actually, his sister, and him says, or his sister says, leave this one to us, All Might. As All Might sees Zuko and Zumi, as they're like, well, as All Might, or he is too strong for you two to handle alone. As he says, make a bet. As he goes in, like he full on sprints, as he hits All Might. No, he hits All for One with such force, it went all the way to his quirk. And he like grabbed it and like pulled it, yanked it right out, and crushed it, basically ending All for One. So yeah, bye bye All for One, and then the ball thing, dodgeball. I'm skipping that, and basically only during these past weeks he grew to like more like closer to his friends. And don't get me started on Overhaul. And plus, funniest thing, Ochako and Momo agreed to date Zuko, who at the same time. Yeah, that's crazy. So, and Zuko accept that. And during the Overhaul fight thing, he got injured, but not too bad. But Zuko was like, oh, you're gonna die, Overhaul. As he like sock 'em bop 'em. Like basically uppercuts them. With that much power that he has, they're glad that he's on their side. So, yeah. So Zuko, or actually Zumi got one for all to like try to. Actually, no. Actually, one for all is got given to Zuko. And then he becomes so powerful. And where will I put it? So, Zuko is the powerhouse, and he's immortal. Like, if he dies, and thus it will happen, solar eclipse, as he comes back to alive. So he's basically is immortal. He can never age, can never die. he's also, and Snipe was working with him to see how tough he really gets against his bullets. So he ends up shooting him. Snipe him shot Zuko 52 times in the chest. As he says, "Wow, you're one tough son of a gun, aren't you?" As Zuko says, "Yeah, but hey, that's kind of... Hey? 52 times in the row. Yeah, call that crazy." Crazy. So, Zuko was basically, or actually, Midnight, she decides, and in the last video, I think was yesterday, I slipped one little bit of a romantic, like, piece thing in that I said about her sneaking into Zuko's bedroom thing. Yeah. So Choco and Momo and her decides to date Zuko. And actually, all three of them got married to Zuko. And all three of them had kids of their own. Yeah. So it was pretty crazy. Not too crazy, but they know that Zuko is immortal, so yeah. So have fun. And who will be my avatar? I'll leave a comment in below of who will be my avatar. Or would it be him from the last video? Or would it be not Midnight. Midnight and Mr. Aizawa, and or this. Okay, so that stuff. So have fun, don't die, and please leave a like, share, subscribe.